I'm Janet Raftis, Master Energy Healer and Intuitive Development Teacher. And on Tuesdays at 5:15 Eastern Time, I share tips and tools for people who are sensitive and intuitive. And today I'm going to be sharing with you a few tips on how to work with the right and left sides of your brain. So for a lot of us, we have one side of the brain that is very dominant. So if you're a very logical person, if you are very organized and linear, if you work in an environment that is maybe like if you're an engineer, you work in an environment that's very structured, then you are probably using your left brain most of the time, most of the hours out of your day, and it can be really hard to switch that over. On the other hand, if you're like me, and you're using your right brain most of the day, where you're in your intuitive or creative mind for most of the day, it can be really hard to switch over to the left side. So ultimately what we want to do is we want to learn how to let the two really work seamlessly together. But initially what we can do is we can create some rituals and habits for ourselves and use some tools that will help us to make it a little easier to have them working together, so to speak. So what I work with a lot of people who have a really strong left brain, who know they're intuitive, they feel that they're intuitive, they know that they're getting messages and signs, but when they try to tap in, they often have trouble calming that part of the brain that wants to analyze everything, that wants to rationalize it, that needs justifications and validations for it. That's the part of the brain that needs an answer that is like concrete, that has been in a book before. And that's just not the way that intuition works. Intuition really works on, it's conceptual, it is symbolic, it is fluid, and it doesn't like to be contained. It likes to run wild. It's really similar to imagination. And that is why the creative and intuitive minds are it comes from the same place, and it's so similar in nature. So sort of with that in mind, thinking about that, so things that you can do to support your right brain, if you're a very left brain person, is that you could find time. You can bring into your days creative time, meditation time, imagination time, play time. You can do things that will activate that part of your brain and get that energy flowing. Activities I would suggest initially that aren't like, I'm going to sit down and use my intuition, because as soon as we do that, we pressure ourselves. Like, I need an answer. I have to do it. I need to connect. And if we make it fun, what happens a lot of the time is that intuition is a byproduct of it. So what will happen is you'll be having fun, you'll be playing, you'll be being creative, and before you know it, your intuition's open and information is already flowing in. Intuition likes to come in the back door a lot because it wants to get to, it's there, it's a part of us. We are all intuitive, and it wants to, our intuition, our higher self, our guides, they all want to speak with us, and they are speaking with us. The problem is that we're oftentimes not hearing it, right? So as soon as we can open up and be in that fluid, creative, imaginative, playful energy, it's like the stuff will start dropping in, it'll start flowing in. And then what you have to do is trust it. You have to be like, oh wow, I just saw this vision, or I just heard this thing, or I just felt something so strongly. And what is asked of you at that point is to drop the judgment, to drop the need to have an explanation around it. So you could be playful in that sense of like, hey Susan, you can be playful in that sense of like, well, what if it were true? What if it were real? Like, let's just see. Like, it doesn't hurt to just see, right? It doesn't hurt to just kind of let it be out there and see if it's working for you. So you can really just kind of be like, okay, I'm just not going to discard it. I'm not going to analyze it. I'm just going to allow it for a little bit. And in the allowing of it, what you will find is that more can come to you. It's like it starts building on itself. Now, the other thing is that when you are wanting to, so that's one way, that's like a habit that you can have, or a tool that you can incorporate into your life that would help over time to open up that right brain a little more. That would make it a little more supple and open to receiving the information. Now, what you can do is, And if you want to, if you're sitting down and you're like, I want to connect with my guides, or I want to get some information about this decision I need to make, or you have something specific that you want to do, and you know, the left brain is like da 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 da. There's a couple tools that you can use that will help it out. Now, when I first started doing Reiki, my monkey mind was a lot stronger than it is now. And so what I did, and this might sound silly, but it really worked, is that when I started every session, when I was doing like my opening invocation, I would imagine my ego mind, my analytical side, the part of me that needed to analyze and run scripts and all this stuff, I would send her over to a little chair, and I would sit her down, and I would thank her and for being with me, and I would let her know that that she could have a little break, and I would give her a magazine or something to play with, and then I would leave her over there. And it really helped, because it was like this intention of, I'm closing that down right now. I'm appreciative of it. I'm grateful that I have this aspect of me, because the more that we can try to not resist it, the more we can move into it. So I would like sit her down, give her a magazine or something to do, and then I would go about my business. Now there would be times that everything would be great, and then I would feel her come back over like, hey, look at me, I'm going to start analyzing things again. And so I would just very lovingly send her back and sit her down again. And it really did work wonders. Guadalupe says she has that same problem. I think it's really common. Actually, I think it's really, really common, especially initially when we're working with our intuition. As we build that muscle, it becomes more natural, it becomes more fluid, we learn to trust it more, and so the left brain doesn't have to doubt it as much, or doesn't feel like it has to doubt it as much, because it's like, okay, it's starting to see that there's a track record, but we have to build that track record first in a way, and so using these tools can help you get to that place. Now, the other thing that I have recommended to a lot of people that I work with and who have said they have had great results with it is to imagine that your right brain and your left brain are dials, like volume dials on old stereo. They used to be like the knobs, right? And you can put the numbers on them, 1 through 10 if you want, and you have one for the left brain and one for the right brain. And when you sit down to do, if you're gonna sit down and do something intuitive or creative, you can actually imagine that you're turning down the left brain and turning up, and you can assign numbers to it. I want the left brain to come down to 3, and I want the right brain to go up to 7 or 8 or whatever you want it to be, and then you can play with that. And what will happen again in that intention is that you'll notice that it'll start to calm, the left brain will start to calm, the right brain will start to awaken. There's a lot of power in intention when we're doing this. Also, I would suggest that when you are first really starting to work with your intuition, as you're in some of these earlier stages, that when you sit down to go into something, to tune into something, that look at those dials. I know, it works so well. So when you're sitting down, what you can do is you can do something to relax you. If you need a little bit more than either of those suggestions, try the suggestions, because that might be all you need. It might be super easy for you once you have something to do. What your left brain wants a lot of times is a task or to be told what to do. Same with your right brain, right? So if you, like me, oh my God, yes, I finally figured out after years that I could not do intuitive work and office work on the same day. So now Tuesday is my office day. Like, this is the day that I bring my left brain out. And then on the rest of the days, my right brain can go to town. And it's been really great for me. Now, I can go back and forth much more easily, but always my right brain's dominant. So what I find for me on the other side is that I'm so conceptual when I'm, just right brain is so conceptual, and I am a very conceptual person, that it can be hard to smash things into like lines for me, right? Into neat little things. It's like my brain doesn't compute in that format. And so I have to go the other way. I have to really set the intention of like, I'm going to work with my left brain today. I'm going to, this is what I'm going to do. Or if I need to switch over in the middle of my day, when I'm doing healing or intuitive work, then I will take a moment to slide over and go, okay, now I'll use like dials or I'm turning this off and I'm turning this on, something that will signal to me that I'm switching tasks. That's really important. So, but if you need a little more, to go back to my original point, that's my right brain making loops all over. That if you need a little bit more, what you can do is you can set up little habits and rituals for yourself. So for example, using one of those tools I just gave you can be a part of a ritual. So you could sit down, you can, if you want to connect, or you want to do some channeled writing, or you want to try to talk to your guides, or you want to talk to your higher self and just get some information, see what's going on, tune into the decision. You can start by setting the intention to either give your left brain something to do. You can set your dials, whatever works for you. You could then spend a little bit of time engaging in an activity that will allow your body to kind of rest and settle into what's happening. So you could listen to music. There are a lot of, you could do like binaural beats, isochronic brain waves. There's a lot of music that will take your brain into a different state. You could listen to music for 10-15 minutes and allow that to help you shift. You can also focus on your breath, bringing your breath into your belly, letting your stomach very gently rise on the in-breath and fall on the out-breath. So what will happen, you can tap your thymus a little bit. So what you want to do is you want to bring yourself into your body and then open up from that place. So as you do that, and if you have a ritual, what's going to happen after you've done it some is that your brain is going to be triggered into going where you want it to go. So if your brain is like running on high because you've been in the office all day, and you get home and you have an important decision to make and you want to tune into that, you could start with the dials, you could do a little tapping on your thymus, breathe, drop in, listen to a little music, and then go into the answer. After you've done that 3 or 4 times, then what will happen is your body will just trigger. Then it will be easier. It'll be easier and it won't take as long. You will just have it's almost like a muscle memory that will happen. And then there's one more exercise that I really love, and this is very simple as well, and it is to draw like a figure 8 over your third eye. It's interesting doing it in the camera, over your third eye. Now you can do that like this if you're working on yourself. You can also envision it through your third eye and just imagine it going through. And that will help to balance the right and left sides of your brain. Also, if you are a Reiki 2 practitioner, you could use the Say Hey key symbol because that will help to balance those hemispheres as well. So know that it's completely possible to change it. It just takes a change in the way you approach it sometimes. So with that, I would love to hear if you guys have any questions or comments or anything you want to add or that I can help you with related to this. I would love to answer that. And as always, if you think of a question later, you can put it into the comment section and I will come back to it. If you are somebody who's really interested in diving into this more fully, I have an Atlanta workshop this Saturday from 10 to 4. I have 3 spots left for that, and I would love to have you there if it's something you want to do. This is something that we will really tapping into the intuition and learning to trust it is something that we will really be focusing on, and I'm super excited for it because it's going to be so much fun. We're going to play with energy and really have a great time exploring things that I think are super awesome in the metaphysical. And then I also have a retreat in July, an Energy Explorers retreat, and it is up in Asheville, and it is so much fun and so magical, and we'll be working a lot with different realms and communicating with nature and animals, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Melissa, I am so excited for Saturday too, and I'm so happy that you're coming. Victoria says she's out of town. I will. Tina says, I'm finding myself slipping into left brain mode as it relates to building my intuitive business. I'm wondering if doing intuitive work either each morning or early in the week to help identify what I what left brain steps to take may help. What would you recommend? I think that's a great idea, Tina. I think that's a really, really good idea. I think it would be helpful for you, maybe even on Monday mornings, to have a little ritual or a little ceremony where you could really set your intention for the week. You are recently coming out of a highly left-brained profession, and so switching over will be a challenge, because when you set the intention to go to work, your left brain is like, okay, I'm ready. So just know that that it will take a little bit of time, but yes, I think having a little ritual will be so powerful for you. And then using the tools that I suggested today during the middle of the day when you notice that you're flipping back over. Hey, Mandy and Victoria, it is similar. It's going to be a little bit different, but it's very similar to what you did in the Activate Your Superpowers. I've shifted the focus a little bit, but in some ways it's very similar. Does anybody else have a question? Hey, Stanton. It's so good to see you all here as always. And if you have any questions about the workshop or the retreat, please feel free to email me, janet@janetraptis.com. And also, if you guys are looking for a way just to help manage and reset your energy each week, I do the Sunday night healings. It's a group remote healing, and it's a great way for sensitive people and empaths just to kind of unwind from the week and start their new week fresh. It's something that I've been doing for many years, and I love it dearly. It is a part of my self-care practice as well. So it doesn't look like there are any other questions. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye.